Hey, everybody, this is some of that Patreon content. Are y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Hit it, King Germ.
What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Germ, one half of Pod and Saved Our Marriage. Each and every Friday, Queen Germ and myself drop an episode to show the people how Pod and Saved Our Marriage. Now, we're not like most married couples. Most of the time we disagree, but that's the beauty of the show. So, when you get through listening to Sparrows on the Review, come give us a listen. Each and every Friday on any DSP, go look for Pod and Saved Our Marriage.
Wow. The most controversial episode that you will receive from Sparrows Under Review besides Fuck Skyline Chili is this one. In this one, I will say, if this is of a sensitive nature to you all, and if you paid the $5, you're getting this episode because this is the only time I can address this matter on an episode, because this is not something I would like to put on free content, because this movie, the books are very controversial. There is an author. Her name is Colleen Hoover.
Oh, gosh.
Colleen Hoover has wrote some books that have taken the women and some influent men and some other people around the world on a different, way of thinking and doing things.
And I do like that you're doing it on this service because of everything that's going on with it right now.
Yeah.
Anybody that's going to listen to this episode, obviously you enjoy the movie and book enough that you're probably up to speed on what's happening at the moment, but we're not going to get into the whole politics and legalities of everything.
All right. So the one moment I'll take this as my little quick monologue is this. As a person that has not read the book, but I have gotten source information from you, I have glanced at Cliff Notes because, like, I have to say, this is 100% not my cup of tea,
right?
Whatsoever. In watching the movie and getting placers, which people have done on TikTok, they have broken this movie down and said, hey, this is not right to the book. This was misinterpreted, blah, blah, blah. The one thing I don't want to deal with on this episode is the promotion of this movie. The promotion of this movie was misconstrued by its two actor and actress, and its director, which was the actor, which in turn, sometimes I think that when we do stuff like this, we should have a director directing the movie, actors being actors and actresses being actresses.
Right. This is the one time that I'm going to stick to my guns. I do not think anybody that was in this film should have been directing it or producing it.
Right. It should have been an actual director.
Someone with experience in this type of topic.
And a lasting effect I want to say, and this goes for any movie, when you cast people for any movie, everybody has a history. Everybody has a story.
Right.
Everybody has a certain place, and they have certain things that limit them as actors and actresses based on their acting abilities, their demeanor, and everything else that gets tied into making a movie. Some people are TV stars, and because of famous people involved with them, they like to be movie stars. Some people want to be directors because they hang out with directors and they don't want to be movie stars anymore. Right. So when you cross a fine line like this and things happen, you have the mess that follows this movie. And what's the title of this movie?
It is called It Ends With Us.
Now, tell me about your experience with this.
So I read the books. I enjoyed the books because I felt like it's an important message. I guess I'll just dive right into it. To me, the book is, you have your history. Your dad beats your mom and basically beats her until the day he dies. He's the mayor of your town, so everybody thinks of him as this saintly, godly person that can never do any wrong. So even if you would speak up or your mom would speak up, no one would ever believe you because he was that powerful. And then your mom, will never say anything because she doesn't want to ruin her husband's character, doesn't want to do anything that could harm anything or this or that or whatever. And it was always an excuse after excuse after excuse. And that's everyday life. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be. People should never have to go through anything that has happened in this book. but people do every single day. And it's hard to ask for help when you need it. You don't, it's like you don't know when to ask for help until it's almost too late. And so it goes through life, and basically says, I'm never going to let this happen to me. When she grows up, see, I don't know. I guess I'm a bad person to kind of give an example of this, but because I have such a bad memory, but I'm rereading the book now. I do remember watching the movie and comparing it to the book and being like, why does everything in the movie seem like a total accident?
Okay.
Like whenever the incidents were happening, everything made it seem like an accident. And like, I just got back to the first scene that I was telling you about, the whole burning the hand incident. And in the movie, he kind of like drops it and jerks his hand away and smacks her in the face. To me, watching that part in the movie is 100% an accident. He touched a hot band. She was too close to his face. And she was right there, and she got the blunt of it. But listening to it again in the book, what happened was they were both drinking. He went in to get the pan out of the oven. His dumbass forgot to get an oven mitt, touched it. She started laughing. He freaking hauled off and backhanded her. And then whenever, no, was it that? I can't remember if he backhanded her or if he shoved her away. And then I think he shoved her away and she hit her head off the counter.
Okay.
So I don't think he actually hit her. He just shoved her away from him. And then she shoved him and his hand got all glass put in it and all that stuff. So that was the gist of that one. So the book is very informative and like detailed, and the movie was not. And kind of like you said with the whole trailers and everything like that, Blake Lively and Colleen Hoover and the other Lily, I don't even know her name. However, they did their promotion of the videos. Like a lot of people said, I felt like they were inviting you to pick flowers and do stuff with your girlfriends. And it was a happy-go-lucky movie.
All right. So one thing I want to throw in here, and this is just some acquired knowledge from Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Christy Hall is the person that wrote the screenplay and was a producer on this movie.
Okay.
But was not considered to be the director. Now, one thing I do know about films.
Yes.
When someone writes the screenplay or the screenwrite, and they are a producer on the film, they should have been a director because she was a director in other things she does. If I had known this, one day I'm going to reach out to her to talk to her about this because I got somebody that I can get in touch with her. I see that there was an oversight on her part because she should have. I don't understand why she was not the director.
He bought, from what I understand and what I've read, this is not confirmational information. This is just what I'm seeing. He bought the rights to the book to make it a film. And I think this was this pre-COVID or pre-strike? Or maybe it was both.
It was during the strike, because basically what happened with this book came out in 2016.
Okay,
because
so
it could
have been pre-COVID.
Because of TikTok between 2022 and 2023, it had a resurgence in popularity.
Okay, right. Because it is a very sensitive topic. It's a topic that a lot of people don't talk about, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. But knowing that more and more people go through this, it kind of makes it easier to be open about your past.
Okay. And the thing that I'm looking at this, like you said, Justin did option the novel for a film adaptation, produced through his company. Right. And this is where things get sketchy. So Blake Lively was casted in the role. And Mr. Justin played Raul, and everything else that went on there. Movie made $351 million worldwide against a $25 million budget, so that's considered not a bust. That's actually considered decent, not great, but
Right.
decent.
And that's the thing with this. Like, if he wanted the rights to the film, he wanted to produce it, he wanted to do his own company, he never should have inserted himself as Ryle.
Right.
I think that's where he messed up.
Yeah, in my honest opinion, that because like it's a difference. Like it goes back to the same thing. Like when Woody Harrelson or yeah, Woody Harrelson. That's what I'm talking about.
I
Woody
mean,
Harrelson, when he made movies and different people would make movies that are producers.
mhm,
It's only certain people that can do that. Like Eddie Murphy can be
right.
the producer of his film if he's doing a Nutty Professor or
Right.
even or
But those different types of films are going to be different in these instances.
right.
With this being such a strongly what am I trying to say? With this being such a strong topic,
Mm-hmm.
he never should have put himself in there,
True. I give you that.
because you're always going to have backlash. You're always going to have a problem. You're always going to have somebody complaining about something. So you're better off to protect yourself by not putting yourself in the film. If he wanted to be in the film, he should have handed over the business side to somebody else within his company. Because now you have backlash. Now you have people filing lawsuits that saying this was never in the book and this shouldn't have never been done. This wasn't in the screenplay. Well, that's false information right there, because I just listened to that part in the book. There was a lot of that in there. And they might not have put it in the screenplay for whatever reason they chose to, but it was in the book. Like somebody was saying, there was no sex scene in the book with the younger Lily. Actually, yes, there was. There was a lot of talk about sex, because she talked about having sex, losing her virginity to a homeless kid, and explaining stuff in her letters to Ellen.
Okay. And then myself doing the extra research on everything,
Mm-hmm.
Blake Lively did drop the ball here.
Uh-huh.
Her production and then anything else that's happened afterwards, that's hearsay. I can't comment on that. I'm not going
Right,
to waste it. I'm not going to waste the show.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, we can't say that nothing happened, because we don't know. We weren't there. We're just giving you our opinions on this. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. If you do agree with it, that's fine too.
And like you said, the whole deal about wearing floral clothing and all that other stuff that she did.
It made it feel like, let me go get my best friend and go enjoy this romantic movie.
Right. And the National Domestic Violence Hotline
Mm-hmm.
should have been something she talked about from the get-go.
Right. Like I felt, and it could have just been the algorithm that was on everything, my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok. It could have just been that algorithm. But I feel like she did not promote any type of domestic violence or support for domestic violence.
None whatsoever.
Right. And it could have just been a social media grab for Justin Baldoni, but you heard and saw that he was promoting this as a domestic violence film.
Yes. And once again, not to be rude or anything, this young lady's call to action is the Gossip Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair and not to be rude about anything, just talking about her in general and just whatever, I don't have her in a catalog of being in great movies.
Right. Because I saw somebody make a comment somewhere that said Blake Lively is best fitted as the villain, or not the good girl.
A gossip girl.
Is that what I want to use?
Yeah, she's a gossip girl.
Okay.
So my thing there is on Mr. Justin.
Uh-huh.
He knew what he was getting into by hiring her.
Right, because it's very well known. A lot of people say that she is very difficult to work with. So if you have somebody that is very difficult to work with, I don't care if you're best friends with Taylor Swift. Find somebody else. Find somebody that does not have a history of issues. And I'm not saying he's innocent and that she's wrong in anything that she is saying. I'm not saying that by any means. But being the owner of a production company, why am I going to put my film at risk by hiring somebody that's a problem.
So true, so true. And just
But I mean, overall, I enjoyed the film. I do think that there was a lot of missed opportunities. And if they do the second movie, It Starts With Us, I feel like they need to, maybe they need to have a different screenplay writer. Because I'm sorry, but if they followed what she wrote on this screenplay, it was trash, and they need to find a new one
and I can agree with that.
because it was not close enough to the book.
And I would just hope that everybody involved is not involved again.
Right. Right. I mean, it's going to be hard.
Right.
Because I mean, obviously you have your three main characters that should always be the same person, but
Now you're in disarray.
Right.
And one thing I would do
Atlas was amazing.
Right.
Like, I don't have a problem with that his name is Spencer on 1923.
So
I forget what his name is.
One thing I want to put in here for my Patreon people, and this is me being an advocate for film and different things like that. If you're a film director or getting into film, please do us a great favor. Look at who you hire.
Mm-hmm.
You do background checks on people when they come to work for you. Why not actually pay attention to what's out there?
Right.
There's only one person, the late great Shannon Doherty, that I will ever say that people spoke ill of and spoke wrong about. That was way different than what people talked about.
Right. Right. Because we were able to meet her last year at the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention in Lexington, Kentucky, which is coming up soon, by the way, for the next year. Like you said, she was completely different than the Hollywood persona that people spoke about her with.
So she's one person in general. Like, I would like, Blake Lively should do something to clear her name. She hasn't done anything to, she's riding off the coattails of Mr. Deadpool.
Right.
And shout out for being Lady Deadpool as the voice, because you made money that weekend.
Right.
Yeah, off 2 movies. So is there anything else we need to throw in here?
I mean, I think that everybody should form their own opinions on the movie. I do encourage you to read the books. I encourage you to watch the movie as well and form your own opinion. But if you are squeamish, triggerish, or anything like that, please ask one of your friends or family members if it is a movie that they feel that you should watch before doing so or reading the book, because there are sensitive topics within this that center around domestic violence. I don't believe that there is any type of sexual stuff in it, but as far as, the bad parts, but I feel like it is very domestic violence centered.
Okay. So Patreon people, thank you for listening. There will be more Patreon episodes, but this was one of those ones that we had to put on here because not saying that any content would ever cause a stir, but this is a controversial episode.
And we're not ready for that yet.
Right. And I'm thankful that you all are listening, and thank you for sponsoring our show with your $5.
I'm Stacy.
And I'm JR.